He is the most searched personality in the Philippines.
The 71-year-old former mayor of Davao is perhaps the least orthodox politician to reach the pinnacle of power in the Philippines.
Duterte gets the highest votes in an online voting for the prestigious Time magazines.
The Hague, April 24, 2026, 10 a.m. A heavy wooden gavel falls in the courtroom 1. The sound echoes through the sterile glass-walled chambers of the International Criminal Court. For the man sitting behind the bulletproof partition, the Punisher persona has finally evaporated. He is no longer the president who promised to fill Manila bays with bodies until the fish grew fat. He is now simply a defendant facing trial for the crimes against humanity. But a witness 6,000 miles away in Manila is testifying about suitcases of cash delivered to the very people promised to protect the country. To understand how the most feared man in Southeast Asia ended up in a glass box, we have to look at the greatest betrayal in Philippine history. Today, we pull back the curtain on the evidence he couldn't outrun, and the calculated sacrifice that made it all possible. March 11th, 2025. Ninoy Aquino International Airport, Manila, 9:42 p.m. Flight CX-919 from Hong Kong touches down on the rain-slicked tarmac. Inside the cabin, the atmosphere was strangely quiet. Among the passengers is a man who, for 6 years, was the most powerful individual in the Pacific. Rodrigo Duterte is coming home. He expects his usual Davao boys to be waiting at the gate. But as the cabin door hisses open, the air feels different. Instead of cheering supporters, 40 officers from the Philippine National Police stand in 2 perfect silent lines. They are wearing tactical gear, but their weapons are holstered. At the center stands a man holding a single piece of paper. It is an International Criminal Court warrant. This was Operational Pursuit, a mission so secret, even the Vice President wasn't informed. The Punisher stops at the threshold of the plane. He looks at the officers, men who once carried out his every command. For 30 seconds, nobody moves. Then, the lead officer steps forward and speaks 5 words that changed history. "Sir, you are under arrest." In that moment, the Uniteam alliance didn't just break, it shattered into a million pieces. In a sterile morgue, Dr. Raquel Fortun is looking for the truth. She is the country's only forensic pathologist. For years, official police reports told a repetitive story, nanlaban. It is a Tagalog word that means they fought back. It was the legal shield used for over 6,000 official deaths. But the bones under Dr. Fortun's microscope tell a cold, unyielding logic. In the case of 17-year-old Kian de los Santos, the police claim he fired first. But the bullets entered Kian's body at a sharp downward angle. This is the mechanical signature of someone kneeling or lying prone. This was not a gunfight. It was a state-sanctioned execution. Medical examiners often signed off on natural causes, while bullets remained lodged on victims' spines. But the real sacrifice happened before the trigger was pulled. In the slums of Tondo, residents lived with a chemical signature of terror. Chronic exposure of threats floods the blood with cortisol. Over years, this high-stress state physically shrinks the brain's prefrontal cortex. The community's ability to resist was biologically eroded. The war on drugs rewired the biology of the poor to make them easier to control. To the world, he was a firebrand. But to the Filipino people, he was the tatay who made the giants bow. In 2017, he gave the country's second richest man, Lucio Tan, a 10-day ultimatum. "Pay your 6 billion pesos in taxes," he said, "or I will shut down the airport terminal." The tycoon blinked, and he paid every cent. This anti-elite brand turned him into a global phenomenon. In May 2018, he appeared on the cover of Time magazine. He was crowned as one of the leaders in the rise of the strongman. He was noticed by the most powerful men on the planet. Donald Trump praised him for doing an unbelievable job on the drug problem. Vladimir Putin became his favorite hero. His global fame made him feel invincible, as if international laws didn't apply to him. While the West condemned him, the money men were betting on him. Under his watch, the Philippines hit its highest credit rating, a BBB plus investment grade. He launched Build, 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 8 trillion pesos infrastructure explosion. Projects like Skyway Stage 3 were concrete proof that the strong man got things done. Supporters argued you couldn't have first world economy without a leader who cleared the path with iron. In 2017, Pulse Asia reported that 81% of Filipinos felt safer. They sacrificed civil liberties for the feeling of peace. But the alliance that kept him safe was built on a debt that was eventually forgotten. In 2016, Duterte gave the Marcos family their greatest victory, burying Ferdinand Marcos Sr. in the Cemetery of Heroes. He stood against the world to cleanse their name. But in 2024, that debt of honor was traded for political survival. Today, Manila is drowning in a 1.1 trillion pesos infrastructure nightmare. Just this morning, April 24, 2026, a witness named Virgil Nino Garcia testified in open court about the maletas. He described delivering suitcases and boxes filled with cash to the doorsteps of the most powerful people in the country today. This isn't just a rumor anymore. It's a forensic trail. But the most explosive details come from the 18 Marines. In February, Senator Amy Marcos officially called for the inquiry into the suitcase of truth. It involved the testimony of 18 former Marines who claimed to be the personal bagman for this massive corruption machine. They alleged they prepared the suitcases especially for greasing the wheels of the ICC investigation. The allegation that $2 million was used to ensure the ICC prioritized Duterte. Marcos Jr. is trading the man who saved his family's name to save his own administration from the flood control firestorm. During the pandemic, the Farmally scandal saw billions vanish into overpriced masks while people died. They handed over a monster to hide the ghost of their own theft. April 24th, 2026. Rodrigo Duterte has now spent 2 consecutive birthdays behind bars at The Hague. Outside, the sidewalk of Van Alquimadilan has become a shrine. They call it Duterte Street. Thousands of OFWs gather there to sing happy birthday to the man in the cell. To the Dutch locals, it is a confusing paradox. Inside, a man is detained for crimes against humanity. Outside, his people are singing. At 81, Duterte has accepted that he will likely die in prison. He has resigned himself to the cold silence of the North Sea. But in Manila, the billion people march is reaching a breaking point. People are looking at the skyway he built, then the floods they now face. They realize that while the Punisher is gone, the plunder has only evolved. Today, a gavel fell in Netherlands, but on Duterte Street, the candles are still burning. The motorcycles are still prowling the dark alleys of Manila, and the people are still waiting for a savior who doesn't demand their blood as payment. Because in the Game of Thrones, the names on the warrants change, but the sacrifice always stays the same.